Prize Picks, run your game when you want. We're going to talk about this Cavs-Celtics matchup in length, at depth, but we're going to start very specific because this was the number one takeaway from last night's 120-117 loss to the Boston Celtics. G, I want to start with you because you've been as hard on Darius Garland as anyone over the last year, 2 years collectively. But he shot 3 of 21 last night. Do you put the loss and the end of the Cavs' undefeated streak to start the season, on the shoulders of Darius Garland?
Woo!
That's a lot.
That looked crazy when you put it on the screen. Now, let me just say this, man. I don't want to be the Duke of knee-jerk. Darius Garland was like the player of the week in the league in the Eastern Conference like a couple of weeks ago. He's been balling. He's been putting up 30. He's been doing his thing. He's been playing much better. So this is a one-game sample size. Did he play horribly? Yeah, he played trash. But I don't want to kill him and make it seem like, oh my gosh, Darius Garland's the weakest link again. I'm off the train of the Cavaliers. No, that's not where we're going with it. But I will say this: as I was watching the game, Boston is a difficult matchup for the Cavs. Their length, they have everything you need. They got bigs that can space the floor. Porzingis isn't even back yet. They're defensively. I was very impressed with what they were able to do defensively, switching off on different people. Jaylen Brown was getting to the rack. Every time you looked up, Pritchard and Hauser and their role players, Derek White hit big threes. And then obviously they still got Tatum. And every time they got close, they got the game down to 2 points, Tatum came back and gave them something. When you look at the matchups and you look at what the Cavs did last night, I thought they didn't have an answer for Evan Mobley. I thought at times Evan Mobley was the most dominant dude on the court, especially defensively, switching off blocking shots. I thought they got away from Mobley a little bit. 8 of 13. I would have liked to see him get the ball. 6 assists. He was high-low with Jared Allen. I thought he was dominant at times. I think they went away from him. Donovan Mitchell was Donovan Mitchell in the fourth quarter. He did what he did. When you look at these matchups, Darius Garland is going to be the linchpin if they can beat the Celtics. When you watch the games that he's played against the Celtics and he's getting 14, you look at the playoff series last year, you look at this game right here, he just looks like they're a little too physical for him. He has bad shooting nights. It looks like it's difficult to get to his spots. And that's going to be the difference in whether or not the Cavs can beat the Celtics or not. It's Darius Garland and what he's able to do. And last night was just another chapter in that episode. Not saying he can't get it together, but Kenny Atkins is going to have to look at certain things and say, are we going to have to limit his minutes in certain situations, especially with certain guys on the floor?
Yeah, he's not the reason they lost. The reason they lost was they forgot how to play defense in the first half. I was watching it in total disbelief. The Celtics were doing to the Cavs what the Cavs have done to all of their opponents all year long.
Yep.
But they were doing it with less ball movement. The Cavs obviously have done the drive and dish and the swing, and they get it around at warp speed. Celtics did some of that, but they didn't really have to exert a lot of energy to get wide open looks. I'm not sure, Mike, I'm really anxious to get your takes on a lot of these things that happened that I saw last night. When they realized, oh, hell, we need to play better defense, we need to put more effort in, from that point on, the game was theirs. From a couple minutes into the second quarter, or the third quarter on, the Cavs outscored the Celtics by 18 points. They figured it out, which is good, because they're going to need to. But Darius Garland was awful. I'm not going to say that, I'm not giving him a pass, but it's a team sport. So, hell, if anyone else had made one more three-pointer, the game is tied. Yeah, Darius missed all 6 that he shot. And the other question that I have for you, Mike, on this, because, again, I think I put it on the Cavs' lack of defense in the first half. At what point does a shooter stop trying to shoot his way out of a slump in a game? Because I kept saying, enough. I know shooters shoot. I get that. But at some point, they have to stop. And I think we surpassed that last night.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a specific number.
No, I know.
You get to this 15th shot attempt if you
it's
don't
like
have
you know
it.
it when you see it, right?
Yeah, I thought Darius forced some things. I went back and rewatched all 21 of his field goal attempts this morning. I thought of the 21, 11 were good looks.
Okay.
He had 6 bad looks. And then 4, you could live with. He's kind of earned the right to kind of take those shots.
Okay.
That's 15 of 21 weren't bad looks. He just missed everything last night. And to G's point about Mobley, that I want Bo to chime in on this, when they made that third quarter comeback, they ran their offense through Evan Mobley.
100%.
And they started attacking Boston switches.
Right.
Part of the reason Garland in the first half and Mitchell too were playing so much isolation basketball and kind of like last year's Cavs as opposed to this year is that's what Boston wants you to do from an offensive standpoint. They switch everything.
Sure.
And when the switch is happening on defense, it slows down ball movement because at that point they just keep switching. You really don't run offense, and then there's 7 seconds on the shot clock. You go one-on-one. They make you take long twos because they're running you off the three-point line, and that's how you get 10 mid-range attempts in the first half from the Cavs last night, which is more than they average all game through the first 15.
I know it is.
So I thought they played right into what Boston wanted them to do. But Darius missed a ton of easy shots last night that he's made all season, and I'm not going to let one game erase the first 15. But I would say last night was equally as bad a performance from one player as the first 15 games were good. Like, there was no excuse for Darius to miss some of those bunnies, but the process was not horrible. The results
I know
were
it's not a
horrific.
playoff game, but it kind of reminded me of that game John Starks had for the Knicks in the playoffs many years ago. I think it was in the finals.
It might have been
he shot like two. Remember that game?
Yeah, and just kept shooting.
John Starks against it was against the Rockets.
Was it against the Rockets?
I
can't
think
even
it
remember.
was.
It's been so many years. But listen,
90.
it was a bummer.
4.
Last night was a major bummer. Not because it necessarily means anything for the rest of the season, because I still think they're a really good team. The major positive, obviously, was Evan Mobley. He was phenomenal. It was But the thing is, the Cavs for 15 games were so much fun to watch. Yeah. They weren't fun to watch last night, besides Evan Mobley.
They were fun. It was the third, fourth quarter I enjoyed because it was a comeback.
But even then, Jay, they weren't scoring like they have all season. And I know Mike talked about it. Some of that's Boston. But, what's made them so fun is the ball movement.
Yeah.
I felt like we really saw very little of that. Even in the fourth quarter, it was just Donovan Mitchell taking over. And
he did.
I know he finished with 35. And if you think I'm wrong or crazy, Mike, fine. Let me know. But I didn't really think he played a particularly good game. He didn't move the ball very well. He missed some what was he from the free throw line?
He missed 2 big ones in the fourth quarter.
Let me pull it up. I don't have that time.
He's got to make it. He's got to make all his free throws.
I just remember missing the 2 that were big.
Yeah,
in that situation.
Like every time they had it to 2, they couldn't make a stop. They couldn't make. You're right. The defense was awful. Oh. And again, I'm not taking this into bigger. I'm just looking at this one game. I think they're really good. I don't think this game makes them illegitimate or anything. Right. I'm not making a statement on the season for one day. And obviously, the Celtics have a lot to do with it. They're a championship team for a reason. And
they said as
showed it
much
last night.
after the game.
Yeah.
That they were ready for this. They were looking forward to
Of
it.
course.
I had said on Channel 3 yesterday, they're going to get the Celtics' absolute best shot. It felt like a playoff game. The crowd was primed.
Yeah.
And I think they fed off that in the first half. But I'm with you. There are silver linings everywhere.
Yeah.
Is Garland going to shoot 3 for 21
No, he was terrible, but I'm not going to blame
He'll never do that again.
Well, I look at it. You talked about the defense early on. I thought what they did defensively early on, they put themselves in a hole. Boston's shooting the most threes in the league. Shooting over 50 threes, right? So when you got a three-point shooting team, the same way they ran you off those lines, I thought it was a lot of lazy closeouts on three-point shooters. I thought it was a lot of guys where it's the dare you shot, like it's like one of those things like, it's the first 3 of the night. Are you really gonna hit that? I'll dare you to shoot it. And then they knock it down. And when you got 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 three-point shooters, that's what the game they want. At this point, Al Horford is not putting the ball on the ground. At this point, he's going to sit behind the free throw line and three-point line and shoot. Like Pritchard, that's what he's going to bring to the table. You can't let guys get comfortable. And I thought they let them get really comfortable on the road. And when you let Boston get comfortable, now the waterfall is coming down. And I thought they put themselves in a crazy hole with that.
That game reminded us how good the Celtics still are.
Right.
And who doesn't want to see that series for 7 games?
I think
I
still think that's our Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. I
do.
And the thing I'll give it to the Celtics, and they have the advantage over the Cavs with this. Jason Tatum on the post-game conversation, he says, how did you feel about this game? They come in and undefeated. He was like, we know they undefeated, and we know that they feel like they're the best team in the league. We feel the same way, but we done been through every type of game there is possible. And we done been through every slow games, tight games. You got to think before they won last year, the year prior, what happened? They lost to the Golden State Warriors.
But got valuable experience.
They got that experience. Then they came back. And they still going through adversity, right? Jason Tatum is still pissed off that he got no minutes
He's playing with a grudge. You can tell he is.
Jaylen Brown is still playing pissed off that he didn't even make the roster.
I know.
So there's a bunch of people on that team who have access to grind and are playing with that edge and that chip right now.
Is Jason Tatum, by the way, now the guy you hate most as a Cavs fan?
Yes.
He complains about every play.
I know he does.
I don't like. Listen, Al Horford, he gets on my nerves.
But for me, it was Tatum. After Tatum scored a bucket, and I think the Cavs wanted a foul, he's not going to get a foul. You're not calling him for a foul in that situation. There was a clear arm extension. There was a push.
Are you talking about the push off on Niang to end the third quarter?
Yeah, and after
you're
it went
never
in,
getting that.
he was like, you could tell he's like, get the F out of here.
Right.
And in that moment, he became my most hated athlete right now. In that moment, but he's deserved it. He's a great player.
Oh, he's a great player. Yeah.
You said something that I want to dive on quickly. You said the Celtics had to go through that NBA Finals series, lose, and get used to it. What we've seen from these Cavaliers is oftentimes the road to championships in the NBA. There's a progression that goes with it.
Absolutely.
They got into the play-in game a couple of years ago and lost. They got into the first round 2 years ago against the Knicks and lost. They advanced to the second round last year and lost to the Celtics. I believe they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. And if that sort of progression schedule holds, they may well lose to the Celtics. I believe in 2 years from now, we are looking at an NBA Finals team. And my hope is within 3 years, they hoist another trophy.
I mean, health is the thing.
Got to stay healthy,
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
And the exciting thing, listen, there's no moral victories. The Celtics were the better team last night. The Cavs played well. They played great for the final 19 minutes of the game after playing lousy for the first, 29 minutes of the game. And it was a close game. But and although I don't believe in moral victories, what I would say is Evan Mobley, like the one question we had is this the new Evan Mobley, or is it only against bad teams?
And will it transfer to against the Celtics?
And against the best team in the league.
And it did.
He looked like a superstar last night.
He absolutely did.
An absolute superstar. And as long as he's that guy, which at this point I have every reason to believe he will be going forward, I agree with you. They're a championship contender as long as he's that kind of player for the next 4 or 5 years, whatever it is.
And let me say this about Donovan Mitchell. Like Jason Tatum had 33, Donovan Mitchell had 35. Here's what I love about Donovan Mitchell and why he's a closer. He understands the moment. Sometimes efficiency got to go. I remember Ty Lue telling LeBron at halftime of the championship game. LeBron James had, 21 points. He had about 7, 8, 9 assists and 9 rebounds. He looking at the stat sheet. And Ty Lue comes into the Game 7 against the Warriors. He comes to the locker room. He say,
I need more.
You got to do something. He looking at you like, what are you talking about? They yelling back and forth. He said, no, bro, you got to be LeBron. We don't care about all the efficiency. You got to guard Draymond, and you better come out here balling. The first 3 or 4 possessions, LeBron comes, gets a block. He comes out, hits another 3. Like, sometimes you got to realize, hey, ain't no help coming. And Darius Garland wasn't about to show up and start knocking down threes last night.
No, he wasn't.
So Donovan Mitchell's like, all this stuff, all that be damned. Give me the ball and let me figure something out. Jared Allen is off the floor because they needed floor spacers. And he's like, all right, well, let me feel the moment. And hopefully when you get it to 2, maybe you could keep your team in the game. They just didn't make no plays when they got down to 2.
They got it to 2, like 5, 6 times?
6 times.
And just couldn't get the tie.
I want to give you guys one little stat, and then we'll move on to our next Cavs topic. But according to ESPN Stats and Information, the Celtics, who shot 14 of 22 from 3 in the first half, 14 of 22, that is their best shooting half in the last 25 years, with a minimum of 20 attempts.
And here's the thing.
So
they needed every bit of that to beat the Cavs by 3 points.
A historic shooting performance with a historically bad DG performance,
Yeah.
and the Celtics at home win by 3 points.
I love where the